But first, it's congratulations, David Moyes. David, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Mr. Jordan is sitting right beside me and offers his congratulations as well. You know you've had a good season, David. When I look at some of the messages coming in, the Singapore West Ham supporters group, David the Messiah Moyes is coming up right now on talkSPORT. I think they like you. I think they like you, mate.
It's been really, really good, Jim, and and it's been an excellent season for us, so it's been great.
Well, now the dust has settled somewhat, David. How do you reflect on the season, your highest Premier League finish in 22 years?
Well, I think after the lockdown, when I took over the job, between January, really, we were in a position where it looked as if we were going to be relegated, and it didn't look that good at the time. So then we went into lockdown. But I think when we came out of it, it was probably as good as we had been since I had been here. The Mickey Antonio, we moved from being a wide player to a striker, scored as many goals as MD in the last 9 games, and things just felt an awful lot better. And I had a chance to work with the players a lot more individually and get to know them a lot more in that period. And I think that helped as well, I've got to say. And actually for us as a club, I think it helped. It settled things down. I think West Ham done an awful lot of brilliant work in the East End of London in the community. They really did, round the COVID period. And I think in a way we gained a few more friends at that time, partly because of how we done, but also partly because I think the club were doing a lot of good things as well.
So at what point, David, did you think in the season, hang on, we could do something here? At what point did you think Europe is actually on here?
Well, at the start of the year, we were in St Andrews, Jim. We were in pre-season at St Andrews, and I remember I said I was going to have a chat with the players, and I felt that I had to sort of set some markers down. And my meeting with the players was that the minimum we're going to do is try and qualify for Europe. And I walked out the room thinking they're going to be thinking he's lost his head. We've just avoided relegation, but I wanted to set the bar high, and I wanted to be wanted to push them and sort of see if I could drag them to get better. The new boys we had brought in the transfer windows had made such a difference to us. The mentality around the club, the work ethic throughout the team, all those things I knew were on the up. Could we keep it going? Could we be consistent? Could we show any sort of stability as a football club? I wasn't completely sure about that, Jim, but we did. We set down the gauntlet right at the start, and to be fair, we sort of hammered the players through the year about it. Come on, this is where we're going. This is what we've got to do. So I think probably round about January, we went on an incredible run, January, February, and I think then I started to believe, look, there's an outside chance we could be up near the top.
Yeah, and in the process of that, David, were you enjoying life a heck of a lot more at the football club?
Oh, unbelievably now, because being a manager who's winning, being a football club who's winning, you talk about how you build team spirit and what gives you, how you get it. Winning gives you a great culture. It improves everything. Everything you're doing off the pitch looks an awful lot better when you're winning. So you need to get those players to do it. We've had a couple of windows which has given us a chance to bring in. I hope I would call them hungry, sort of determined players with a point to prove and trying to show that they're good enough for the Premier League. And it makes some difference when you get players with that mentality. It really does.
I watched you, David, over the last year, and obviously there's been a process in your career where things didn't go perhaps the way you'd want them to go, and I think unfairly at Manchester United, but I think some of the decisions at Sunderland and Real Sociedad didn't get you into the best opportunity. And I noticed a significant change in you this year in the way that you interact with the media. You're much more on the front foot, and I think a lot of it is down to your outlook.
We've took an almighty step this year, coming from where we are to where we are this season. And my experience, what I told me, Simon, is I've done this with Everton quite often. And quite often is, you take a big step and you have to come back a little bit to sort of breathe again before you go again. But in the end at Everton, we were able to get a continued level of consistency. We got us near enough round the top 8 most seasons competing for Europe. But I think West Ham has got so much room for improvement on and off the field. There's a great chance. But recruitment's always a key, Simon. If you get your recruitment right, get your recruitment right. I'll give you every chance of being successful. But I would be quite confident if I went into next season with the group of players I had. Yes, we're short in 1 or 2 positions, and yes, we're going to have more games, all those things. But I just feel that they're an incredibly good group of players, and they've got better as the season's gone on.
Whilst you haven't had fans in this year, do you think you're now embedded enough in the club? Just think, you know what football fans are like. You've set a benchmark now, and if you fall below that, there'll be an element of the football fan saying, hang on a second, we're falling backward, Moyes is taking us backwards. Do you think you're embedded enough now in the fabric of the club to be able to withstand if the club doesn't finish 6th next year?
Well, Jim, if I was a West Ham supporter and David Moyes came in and saved me for relegation once, came in and saved me for relegation twice, first full season, qualifies for Europe, I'd be hoping that you'd give him a wee bit of breathing space and give him a chance to see what's going on next. Because even at Everton, I couldn't get the team in Europe in the first year. So it's been a huge step. So I would hope West Ham supporters would say, look, we're going to give him an opportunity to try and build on it. I think there's so much room for growth at West Ham. I think a club which can do so much better. We're trying to, bring everybody together again. Whether everybody completely agrees with the new stadium, we have got a 60,000 seated stadium where there's no viewing restrictions. We've got a lot of new young supporters. I think it would be good that we try to encourage new young West Ham supporters. At the club, and a bit like Palace, I've got a great singing section. It'd be great if we could get something at West Ham for the young supporters of West Ham in the future. That's my hopes.
And presumably they'll work on that, David. I'm sure. David, you've got a good idea of the targets that you want in, have you?
Well, I've got a good idea of where I'd like to strengthen. Trying to get them in might be different, and Simon will probably be aware of this as well. Football's skint. And and I think media has a responsibility as well. We're just coming out of a pandemic where half of the lower league clubs are now really financially struggling and nearly went bust during the pandemic. So I think the media and everybody who speaks about it, pundits who speak about it, have got to be considerate that maybe we shouldn't be spending hundreds of millions on players and the wages, etc. Have got
well
to
said, Moisey.
More acceptable level, because if not, we're going to go into football where is it only money that matters. I've always dreamed that football wouldn't be the biggest thing in our sport, that you could have a good year, you could have a good team, and that's why the Super League stuff was nonsense and none of us wanted it.
Well said, David. Well said. I'm looking at the messages coming in, not just here at talkSPORT, but on YouTube and Facebook as well, and they're all pushing me to ask you. Now, this is where you're at, David, and you're at this stage because you're there on merit. You're going to sign this new deal this week. You're going to stay a lot longer.
Yeah. I mean, we're there. It's not for me in life now. It's not about how big my contract or how long my contract is. About that I want to be happy and I want to know that the people are going to give me every support I need. Because in the job as a football manager, very few people can be successful in it. You're questioned all the time. I need support from inside. I need support from the club. And I've got to say they've been fantastic in helping me and allowing me to get on with it. And if I can do the same again, I can feel as if I can build it. I think that if I was giving myself any praise over the years, it would be that I've tended to build clubs and make them better. And I hope that I can do that with West Ham over the coming years. Good,
David. So give me something I can bite down on. What we're talking about, 3-year deal? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at the moment. And who knows? Football in true terms never allows you to really understand what a 4 or 5 year deal is. So because the managers come and go more often now, and it changes. But I think if a club needed a little bit of stability and maybe a bit of guidance, I think West Ham would certainly fit into that category.
David, I've known you a long time. I just want to congratulate you. Well done. It's been spectacular what we've seen this season, and there's no doubt in our minds that you can do it again next. So thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, and I would say thanks to my players. My players have been brilliant this season, and their efforts in every game have been right up there. So really pleased with them all.
Well, David, well done. Thanks for joining us.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, David. Jim. Thanks, Simon.
Cheers, mate.
David Moyes with us live on talkSPORT.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1 on on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.